Well, this was my show growing up. I was very young at Hamilton Elementary School in San Diego, California. This was the show right here, The White Shadow. 54 episodes. It aired from 1978 to 1981. Should have gone on a lot longer, but you know, I'll get to that later. The rumors why it was taken off after 3 years. But the acting on this show is incredible. And some of these guys I don't even think had acting experience. And if they did, it was very limited. And you'll notice some of the actors look older than high school, but it's kind of funny because I attended Lincoln High School in Southeast San Diego, class of 90, and I transferred from Hilltop, which was in Chula Vista. But when I got to Lincoln High, I realized a lot of these dudes look way older than me. So I thought it was pretty realistic, maybe hard times makes you look older in the face, but these guys really nailed their roles, and they had a great way of mixing tough topics with humor. It was a very well written show. Ken Reeves, played by um, Ken Howard, I believe. The show's about him being a former NBA player for the Chicago Bulls. He injures his knee. His old classmate, who's now principal at Carver High, a fictional school, I believe they shot it in Watts, California. So the principal now used to be, like I said, the ex teammate of Ken Reeves in college. So he asked him, you want to come to the inner city and coach these kids? So Ken Reeves, now injured, can't play anymore because of his knee. Like I said, goes to help these kids at Carver. And you could tell from the pilot episode, they were saying telling the story of some of these kids, like some were into stealing cars. You could tell later they they were nothing like that, but they didn't really know where they were going at first in that pilot episode. But you just wish that they had lasted for this show could have gone on for 10 years or more. They could have even brought it back, but they dealt with serious topics, as I said, and intertwined humor in a very clever way that you don't even see done today. They had great writing. Gwyneth Paltrow's dad was involved with the show, and he just had a way of creating stories that you won't regret watching this. I have season 1 and 2 on DVD. They didn't put out season 3 for some reason, but you can find probably season 3 on YouTube. They have a lot of the episodes, and you won't regret it, man. You will not regret it. And it's a basketball show, but I don't even really care about the games they show. I care about the outside activities, what the kids are going through and all the hardships they have just, in life and trying to get through school and, their hormones racing and Ken Reeves deciding if this is what he really wants to do with the rest of his life. And they have great exchanges. The principal, the guy in the pilot is not the same guy that they use later to play the vice principal, but they're both black. The vice principal, she's a lady, and I think she's the vice principal in the early seasons and maybe principal later, but they're both black. And she and Ken Reeves have some great exchanges. I was just watching an episode the other night where she said something to Ken about, well, what should I call you? And he said, Massa should suffice. Like, Massa will do. Little lines like that, probably wouldn't go over too well today in today's politically correct climate, but back then it was hilarious. It's still hilarious now, whether you want to admit it or not. This show was just great, man. It was great. Even when they brought in the other students in season 3, it was still great, Coolidge was my favorite character. I used to pretend I was Coolidge back in, I think it was kindergarten. I just liked his height, the way he carried himself. Warren Coolidge. Found out years later, I didn't even know this. He was on a show called St. Elsewhere, still playing Warren Coolidge. And I thought, oh, that's kind of disappointing. I'd like to think of him making it to the NBA, not working in the hospital. And then you see Salami in the picture in the middle. He ended up working on The Sopranos, and he was in the episode of St. Elsewhere, but he wasn't playing Salami on St. Elsewhere. So there was a scene where Coolidge says, "Salami?" when he's in the elevator, and Salami's like, "No, not me." Then the elevator closes, so they're trying to be funny with that. But a lot of these guys ended up directing big movies. Thorpe, trying to think of his name in real life, but he ended up being a director, and the guy who played Haywood, he ended up directing things. I think that's, what's that Samuel Jackson basketball movie, Coach Carter? I think he had something to do with that. Ken Reeves became, I think, leader of the Actors Guild, very well respected. Saw him on an episode of The Office, one of my favorite comedies of all time. But go check out The White Shadow. I know you won't regret it. Anyway, oh yeah, and I can't believe I forgot to mention Ice-T making his movie debut when I did my video about Breaking. I'm like, wow, Ice-T, how did I forget that? In the show, and the thing about Breaking is it was so new, the culture of hip hop was so new that Ice-T's a rapper in the movie, and when the credits roll, it says rap singer. They didn't even know how to label it. Oh no, it said rap talker. But anyway, just thought, how did I forget to mention Ice-T? First movie, but his debut was in a documentary in 1983 before that called Breaking and Entering, but that was just a documentary. Way off topic, like I do best. Anyway, make sure you subscribe. If you want to become a member, hit the join button below. There's bronze, silver, and gold. Channel number 2 and WJ. The Instagram, the J Roos Theory. If you want to donate to the platform, the Cash App is $JRoos33, and that's Roos, not Ross. JROOS 33. LSR forever, and be fearless. Yay. Hope I didn't forget nothing in this video, or I have to, cover it in another one. Thanks for watching, y'all.